I'm just trying to human. Hey y'all, welcome back to Falling Off Curves. I am your host, Kat, and in today's episode, we're still talking about dating, but we're gonna get into some like real grown-up truths. Um, we're still talking about dating. So this is for anyone who's dating or thinking about dating or considering thinking about dating or have been dating forever. Or if you're like me, trying to figure out what dating means when you're finally showing up as your whole self. So we're going to talk about learning how to receive and recognizing what's real and um, like setting the crumbs aside because we are not birds. So grab a snack, settle in, and let's talk about this stuff. Y'all, y'all, I think that I am maybe finally experiencing normal? Question mark, question mark. That's not the problem. The problem is that it feels wrong. It feels wrong. Like, Lord help me, it feels wrong. I was talking to my mom the other day. I think we went to lunch and I was talking to her and I was like, why does kindness and consideration and consistency, which are the things that I want, why do they feel wrong? They shouldn't feel wrong. And then that's when I discovered the discomfort of healthy behavior. And then, more importantly, why? Why does healthy behavior bring me discomfort? And I'm always asking questions and I'm always asking myself questions. So, having asked myself those questions, I realized I got to like get all the way down to the root of things. Again, we love a good RCA. Let's do a root cause analysis. Roots, not fruits. The root of that is that healthy behavior brings me discomfort or brought me, let's be positive, brought me discomfort because it's unfamiliar. Specifically because I have been surviving or I have survived navigating the waters of dysfunction. There's been dysfunction everywhere, right? So when you having dated emotionally unavailable men, undiagnosed men, narcissists, quasi narcissists, or honestly just people who are confused, right? Uh, Just confused. And that's no disrespect to anybody. All these things are very real for all of the reasons that they are real. But in realizing that, I realized that getting basic respect can feel like a red flag, which is insane. Because why does basic respect feel like a red flag, Catherine? Here's why. Because I have historically confused excitement with anxiety. That activation of the nervous system has always been what I have been in dating. And so for me, it was easy to make the switch, use them interchangeably because y'all know what I'm saying. Anxiety and excitement, they can feel very similar, especially if you've never felt the opposite. If you've never been in something where it doesn't activate your nervous system, aka cause anxiety. And because of that, for me, normal, healthy behavior, it feels or felt unsure and unfamiliar. But since when, in what world, Cat, should peace and should normalcy ever be unfamiliar? Or, as y'all know, I love to say, weird. When should those things ever be weird? More questions. So, to, what do I need to do when healthy behavior feels weird? We gonna unpack. A girl's gotta unpack. I gotta unpack my knapsack, my book bag, and I gotta start with some foundational things, right? And so, real quick, y'all, speaking of foundations and faulty wiring, um, I was bullied in middle school, um, for all of the reasons. Maybe one day we'll talk about all that, whatever. But I was bullied in middle school. Thank God that I have since grown into my face. So being bullied in middle school meant I had to find ways to be accepted. Like I had to work for other people's attention and time and kindness. I had to be funny. I had to be smart. Like I had to work for people's kindness and time and attention. So there's that. And with that being what it is, let's speed up to this like post divorce dating. So I think I mentioned a little bit of my previous Bumble days. So back in my Bumble Fumble days, I was like in a weird undefined situation that I mean, if we're being real, it operated like a relationship even though it wasn't, even though we had been in it together for like a few months, like more than 6 months. Anyway, whatever this weird thing was in it, I remember saying to him specifically, it is really hard to love and care for someone who does not know how to be or receive love and kindness. It's really hard. That me saying that came to mind, and I suddenly thought, is it you? Am I the someone who doesn't know how to be or receive love and kindness? I I am right now. Well, I was until I got here. I'm still learning. Um, I have spent so much time giving in the dating space and in context of relationship or whatever it is, whatever relational dynamic exists between me and a man that I'm seeing. I've spent so much time giving. I've spent so much time holding space and nurturing. I have, excuse me, spent so much time being like, I don't know, the emotional landing pad that I never learned how to just receive. And I think this is why I've may have been more susceptible to breadcrumbing, right? So breadcrumbing is like the little drops of affection or attention that are supposed to feel fulfilling, like a meal, but they just leave you starving, right? And I wasn't looking for love. I wasn't looking for kindness. I was looking for scraps to prove I was worthy of the affection and attention. And that's not good. So what do we do when we feel we have to prove our worthiness for love or kindness or consideration or consistency? When when you don't believe that you deserve love freely, you perform. You work. You mold and flex and bend yourself. And that's not partnership. It is labor. It's labor, and no one can do labor forever. Um, and it's not easy making the transition from labor and work and performance to being free and believing that we too deserve love and kindness and consistency and consideration. And because, at least for me, the transition isn't always easy, I thought maybe I need to just like move away, scoot away from dating, right? The blood pool, um, because I'm not ready for it. I'm not ready for it. But then I had another thought because again, the thoughts. I thought, what if receiving isn't necessarily about readiness? What if it's more about unlearning and relearning? And now the new question begs, what do I need to unlearn and relearn? And it brings to mind, I saw a quote. I was on Al Gore's internet on the social medias, the Snapchats, and there is a very well-known African filmmaker. His name is escaping me right now, unfortunately. But he said a few things, and then towards the end of whatever he was saying, he said, "Why would you want me to be like a sunflower turning toward the sun? I am the sun." And back in the day, there was a show, a reality show, and a woman said, "Who gonna check me, boo?" The quote checked me, boo, because I y'all it checked me. And it checked me, I think, because for too long, for so long, I've been trying to earn someone's gaze. I've been like chasing their warmth and their affection and their consistency and kindness. Why? Because I was hoping to be chosen. Imagine that. Imagine doing all of that work and labor just so someone can choose you. Hey, listen, I'm unlearning it. And I'm actually unlearning that very quickly. That wasn't a hard thing. That is not a difficult thing for me to unlearn. I know that it's not a truth. I'm working to make sure I walk in the truth, but not difficult for me to unlearn. And what I'm relearning is that I'm the warmth, I'm the light, I'm the sun. And then boom, Bob's your uncle. There goes the power shift in dating for me. Because I think I finally understood that it's not about being chosen. It really is about choosing. It's about me choosing peace. It's about me choosing reciprocity. It's about me choosing not to chase. It's me choosing to be perfectly okay walking away from something or someone that disrupts the very peaceful internal ecosystem I have worked to get and worked to maintain. And speaking of internal ecosystem, let's talk about joy because again, I got on I was on Al Gore's internet and I heard another man say, and quote, the happier he is, the happier she'll be. And to be fair, he was talking in context to a larger conversation that he was part of. So it made sense as a part of that context. But I'm thinking about it now and sure, yeah, sure. However, in the context that I'm talking about, this only works if it goes both ways. This has to flow both ways because I'm not going to wait to be invited into a man's happiness. Why? Because I bring my own. I bring my own joy. Now, would I like to be invited into his happiness, into his world, into his life? Yeah, of course. Isn't that the point of companionship and relationship and getting to know people? Yes. But if it doesn't happen, again, it does not mean I'm not worthy of it. It means that he just doesn't want to share. And that's fine because one, that's his right to choose. And two, I have my very own well worked for sustainable happiness and joy. And this helped me to understand that uh when I bring my own light, I actually stop chasing shadows. Speaking of shadows, let's go back to breadcrumbing real quick. Breadcrumbing is not healthy. Breadcrumbing is not love. And when I say love, I mean like ooh love. I mean like I mean in a way of like showing up in the dating space authentically and genuinely. Breadcrumbing is not authentic and it is not genuine. It is pure manipulation. It is about convenience and it's performance and it's horrible and very, very harmful. So quick story. Y'all know I like me a story. I didn't give a story last time either. Sorry, y'all. So story time. Recently, when remember I said I've been in the dating, I got back into dating maybe 6 weeks ago. At the beginning of this 6 week period, you know, linked up, not hooked up, let's be clear, not hooked up, but like kind of matched with a fella that lives in the same county as me, right around the same age-ish, a couple years younger. Um, yeah, you know, he started really well. Started really, really well. Was very consistent, very very kind. And before I go on, let me say this real quick. Like I said last time, this is never to disparage another person because people have their own stuff going on. They all have their own traumas, they have their own concerns, issues, just life is happening. And so I will say very, very firmly, this person who I am talking about actually is a really kind and nice guy. Like he's a good guy. There are just other things that are I think there are walls that have been built because of certain experiences. So I'm not negating the fact that good people, kind people can be in spaces that make them behave in ways that are unhealthy. I'll just say that. That's my disclaimer. Um, so yeah, consistent, very considerate. Um, I showed effort. received said effort. Um, and then things started being a little weird. Now, going back to my 30-day probationary period, we're within the 30 days here, right? We are in it. And around like week, ooh, maybe two and a half, three-ish, time is hard. Um, it started being weird. Why are you being weird, dude? Just being weird, specifically being inconsistent. And he started breadcrumbing me very clearly. I would text, he would not text back until several hours later. And I don't mean like, hey, I've been at work working and I couldn't get to the phone, etc. When I say several hours, I mean I text you maybe 9:30, 10 o'clock in the morning. You don't text me until 12:30, midnight. Not 12:30 p.m. a couple hours later. The next day at 12:30, right? I'm talking, or not at all. Sometimes not at all. Um, I'm talking disappearing for days at a time, just gone. Not, I think there was maybe some passive aggressive stuff going on in there too. Y'all, sorry, my voice is being weird, but some passive aggressive things happening too because of a trip and then another trip. It was just all weird and very, 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 very breadcrumby. Um, And again, I was very specific and clear and communicative about, I hate to say this word, but expectations and standards and what I would like, um, what I need to feel safe. And I said that a lot when I was sending a voice memo to him. This inconsistency makes me feel wildly unsafe. I am not an insecure woman. I've never been that. But when something starts to feel unsafe because something becomes different unexplainably, I don't like that. It doesn't make me insecure. It just makes me feel unsafe. So, and I communicated that very clearly, more than once, more than twice. Okay. So after all that weird behavior from him, oh, I'm sorry, let me wrap this up with him. I left it hanging. The 30-day mark came, maybe even a little after, maybe day 32. And he sent me a text after not saying anything to me for 3 days. 3 days had gone on. Now, at this point, I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to do this. Because not only the text not answered, phone calls weren't returned, like nothing. So at some point, hey, I'm not about to run after you. I've expressed my interest. I have done my part. And you're not. And then you're being weird. So, yeah, I sent him a text and it was like, "Hey, yeah, this is not I think we're on two different pages and I'm gonna go ahead and call it. I'm gonna go ahead and call it. We're gonna cap it. I think you're a lovely person, good guy, kind guy. I just think you may have some other stuff going on and it's not my job to figure those things out. It is my job to recognize when it's time for me to head out. So, I'm gonna go ahead and call it and yeah, I wish for you nothing but like kindness and happiness and peace and joy. And, really think about if you actually want to share your life with a person. That's important. And so I sent him that, and that was it. That was it. After all that weird behavior from him and me being very tired of getting my little feelings hurt, not big hurt, but little hurt because of unmet, but again, very clearly communicated expectations and standards. I realize y'all, I'm really not built for scraps. I need substance. I need substance. So if you want to be scrappy, like that lady said, get someone else to do it. Because I'm not interested in nay crumb. I want a full meal. I want a feast. And you know why? Because that is what I give as best as I can give. And I wholeheartedly believe in reciprocity. So don't get scrappy with me. Don't get crummy with me. That's a no. Like, this is craziness. So, like going back to me realizing that I have to unlearn that dysfunction is equals normal and relearn how to receive healthy behavior or healthiness. I'm asking myself at this point, am I accepting less because it's comfortable? Because that's what I'm used to, because that's the only thing I've known or have experienced. And then equally important, um, am I hoping that the breadcrumbs will eventually become a feast? You keep going and going, hoping that this will be the day that it changes. Tomorrow it'll change, but as we know, tomorrow never comes. And as my mama would say, in the answer to my question, am I hoping that the crumbs will become a feast? As mom would say, no, they won't. No, they don't. No, they can't. I believe that we all perform exactly how we practice. And if I continue to practice receiving breadcrumbs, that is the way they will continue to perform. What I allow is what will continue. And to be fair, when we're talking about breadcrumbing, just quick, aside, I'm not talking about people who are dating and moving consistently in a very communicated, steady, and deliberate pace. That is not breadcrumbing at all. It's actually super helpful and very, very good. I'm talking about the real breadcrumbing, right? So I'm thinking now about something I said, I think, in this previous episode about wondering if we're going into dating trying to become whole people rather than dating as whole people. And that led me to reminding myself that wholeness is my job, not his. My wholeness is my responsibility, not his. And that's a known thing. Like I've known that. That's not anything new to me. It's always been a known thing that I can it's always been a thing that I've known. I think what made it a thing for me is the fact that like in previous situations, weird relationship whatever the thing is that I was in with a man, I at some point moved into, and I'm air quoting, work for it. And work for it to me, for me means nurture and fix it. And at that point, I placed their wholeness before mine. I placed fixing them so that they're okay above my own okayness. Why? I think one of the things is I grew up thinking that the way to measure success as an adult was how many people I could fix. So fixing became my foundation and framework of success. And that's not for bad reasons at all. When I say bad reasons, I didn't that thought growing up wasn't because of something bad. Um, we as a family, there was always some people in our house, like very community oriented. And so friends needed something or didn't have any place to stay. I remember very, very specifically when we moved into the house that I kind of grew up in at 6. We moved in, and time is hard as a kid because it's hard now. But not long after we moved in, a family of like 9 moved in with us. And when they were there with us for months, now as a kid, they had a whole bunch of kids, and so it was fun for us. But that was always what was happening. There was always someone we were taking care of, we were helping. And so the thought that success as an adult means how many people can you help, how many people can you fix, that makes all the sense to me. So that's why that kind of became my foundation and framework. So at this point, I'm now unlearning that and recognizing that receiving healthiness, it's just a muscle that I have to intentionally flex. And in flexing said muscle, it is okay if receiving feels awkward and weird at first. Like that's fine. Stretch the muscle, cat. Practice. Sit in the discomfort of being treated well. Sit in the discomfort of being treated well until it is no longer bringing discomfort. Because for real, for y'all, that is the only kind of discomfort I want to be dealing with. And that's it. So here I am. I am learning to be gentle and kind with myself by reminding myself that number one, dating while healing is hard. Dating in general can be difficult. And then sprinkle a little razzle dazzle of dating while healing. Ooh, child, it's hard. That is a challenge. Number two, receiving love is unfamiliar. because giving and fixing have historically been my identity. And then the mere fact that breadcrumbs are not okay unless they're for feeding birds, and you, cat, are not a bird. You are, in fact, the sun. So I am really working on myself, putting these things, learning and unlearning, relearning, and then being okay with it, and then putting it into like action, applying it every day in real time. Because normal is beautiful. Normal is so sexy. Oh my gosh, it's a beautiful thing. Yeah. But as we wrap up, y'all, if the episode or the topic sparks something in you, I really would love to hear about it, like for real. Tune in every Tuesday for new episodes now that your girl is back. And if you haven't already done so, I definitely encourage you guys to go back and listen to like episode 1 of the season, which is all about the dating pool being full of blood, rather than pee. And next week, I think, I'm always thinking, I'm thinking while I'm doing this recording. And I think next week we'll dive into, maybe we'll dive into the ways that we silence our own pain and then have the unmitigated goal, the audacity to call it strength. It is not strength, not even a little bit. We know that healing starts with honesty, and honestly, that's the part that ain't cute because it's the hard part. That's the work. Um, the work of having to admit that something hurt. I don't have to be strong about it. That hurt. So come hang out with me, if you will, next Tuesday. As always, thank y'all for being here and walking this walk with me, this journey of becoming with me, and in this specific time frame of my life, dating with me. And so here's to remembering that crumbs are for birds and we are not birds. Until next time, friends, stay curious, stay kind, and stay true to your journey. I'm just trying to be human.